Well, turning now to a story that caught our eye this week involving Oregon's lone Republican member of Congress, Representative Cliff Bentz. It comes from the Oregon Capital Chronicle, and we think it's worth your time. All right, here it is. Bentz outspent every House member on Trump inauguration weekend back in January, paying for more than $16,000 worth of hotels for his staff over a span of just 4 days. Okay, the average lodging reimbursement for members of Congress over the inauguration week was about $4,500. And as it turns out, the money Bentz used for those hotels, taxpayer dollars. Here's Capital Chronicle senior reporter Alex Baumhart.
The bigger issue here is a lot of representatives will use their private money or their campaign funds. Bentz has over $1 million in his campaign fund right now. He used his congressionally allocated budget, that's taxpayer money. He uses it for his apartment in DC as well. Not every member of Congress does that. It's an easy thing for constituents to point to and say, why are we paying for your expensive apartment, your expensive hotels? So if you want to spend $16,000 out of your campaign budget on hotels, that's something else entirely. But this was taxpayer money. I don't think it's at all out of line to question the spending of a publicly elected official, especially when it's your, mine, our money behind it. Like there's nothing about that to me that is out of line or partisan. Everybody should be curious about that.
Representative Bentz's office told Alex in a statement all of the spending complied with rules set by the House of Representatives and that the amount spent was due to an annual staff retreat in D.C. that Bentz usually holds in December. This year, he decided to move that retreat to January to coincide with President Trump's inauguration, though his office did not give Alex any other details like how many staffers attended or which hotels they stayed in. That $16,000 for hotels was reimbursed to just 4 staffers.
If you're going to hold your staff meeting during the inauguration weekend, more details might help the taxpayers of Oregon understand how such high bills were racked up. I will say, when I talked to other staffers from different offices of House and Senate representatives, the sort of big takeaway I got was, it's maybe not the most financially prudent decision to hold your all-staff meeting during one of the most expensive weekends in DC, right? Some of this reporting specifically builds on some really good reporting that was in the Malheur Enterprise back in May. And the editor, Les Zeitz, did the same thing I did. He went through those spending reports. He was looking at a different time frame, but he noticed pretty exceptional spending as well amongst Bentz and his staffers. So I think for me, it's important to drive home like this wasn't necessarily anomalous spending. This is sort of a pattern that he and his staffers have of using their congressionally allocated taxpayer budgets to stay in nice hotels, have nice meals.
With other expenses like airfare, meals, and ride shares, the price tag for Bentz came out to over $20,000. Now, I would guess there are a few of you out there thinking $20,000 isn't all that much, especially when you consider how many millions in tax dollars are spent on Portland's homeless crisis, for example. Well, we asked Alex for her response to those of you who feel that way.
Congressman Bentz, among the reasons he's held so few town halls this year and basically moved them all to virtual is because he said it'd be so expensive to bring the police and security and other sort of personnel needed to hold a town hall in Eastern Oregon because they draw such big crowds. There's obviously a lot of charged emotions. Some people come to protest them. Among the reasons he said he hasn't held more town halls is because it would be expensive to do that. What would $20,000 get you? It might help pay for a town hall in Eastern Oregon that you haven't held in months. I think when you're as outspoken as he is about financial prudence, about being a responsible steward of taxpayer dollars, and then you spend $16,000 on hotels over a 4-day weekend, it's a drop in the bucket to somebody who's used to spending like that, I guess.
All right, there's a lot more to Alex's reporting on this issue that we did not get into, but if you'd like to read more, you can find her article right now on OregonCapitalChronicle.com.